A lot of you have been asking how I keep my yard so nice, and that's not true. No one has asked how I keep my yard nice because our yard is not nice. We have really heavy clay soil, and it has been neglected for years before we got here, and so we have been slowly trying to improve it. We have not done any kind of weed killer or anything in the lawn, trying to maintain flowers for pollinators and things like that, but we have acres of field out here that have pollinators everywhere, and we're going to try to give the grass a little bit of a head start in the lawn. So to do that, we're going to use this fall weed and feed that I picked up from Costco. It's supposed to be spread when its daytime temperatures are between 60 and 90 degrees. It's supposed to be about 70 for the next 10 days, so should be good there. Hoping that it will take care of some of the dandelions, give the grass a head start, and then next spring we'll probably do another coverage with this, or the spring blend, and see if our grass can get on top of it, and then we'll just be able to do some maintenance with the dandelions rather than having mostly dandelions. Just wanted to show a couple points. There's dandelions all along our mowing curb here, so I want to compare what it looks like in a couple days. You can see the yard out here is pretty patchy. A lot of dandelions and stuff out here, so we'll spread the weed and feed, give it a little bit, and then I'll post an update if we notice any difference within a week or so. This is another spot where we have a ton of dandelions. This is basically all dandelions. So if the weed killer is really effective in the weed and feed, I expect this to look very different, but this will be kind of like our extreme case of test and see how it fares with the weed and feed. It has been about a month exactly since I spread the fall weed and feed blend on the yard. And as you can see there in the foreground and here beside me as well, there are still dandelions in the yard. I will talk a little bit about why that is, what I've seen, and recommendations here. But my yard was in pretty rough shape before we spread the weed and feed. I talked about that earlier. So I do feel like there's some improvement. We'll go look in the backyard where that really thick patch of dandelions was and talk about kind of what happened. So as I walk through the yard, there's spots like this where I watched the dandelions kind of turn black and fade away. So it did kill those dandelions, but then right next to it, we got more dandelions. Here, a whole thick patch of them. Seemingly no effect on these dandelions. Here, up here, we got a bunch of them turning black and dying right next to ones that are thriving. Here is the big thick patch that we looked at earlier. So about a month ago, all of it looked like this, or even worse. We have spots in here where it's dead. You can see quite a bit is cleared out here. Ultimately, I think the dandelions were so thick that the weed and feed couldn't get to all the leaves. So it was the ones that kind of were available to get covered with weed and feed killed those dandelions, and some of the others remain in this area. So I would say overall the yard looks like it's gotten greener, a little healthier. Definitely some of the dandelions were killed by the weed and feed, but not all of them. So if your yard is like mine, where it's in rough shape, there's as many weeds as there is grass, the weed and feed is not a miracle cure. It's not going to fix your yard, but it did make some headway with the dandelions and some of the things that I'm dealing with. I will probably try to use some again in the spring to see how it affects it when the dandelions are actively growing and the yard is coming in for the summer. If it doesn't do more to kill the dandelions, then I probably will stop spending my money on it. But overall, I would say like about a 3 out of 5. It did do something, which is nice. Anything helps with where we're at. But it was not a miracle cure. It's not going to make your yard perfect and weedless with one application.